Hi everyone, I'm Cheryl and welcome to the Sewing Room channel. I'm going to demonstrate how to make a Christmas stocking. Now you'll notice on the front here I have all these little squares. This was scrap fabric of mine that I cut in 2.5-inch size. Now you can use one solid piece of fabric on this. That's what I did on the back. So if you want to use one solid piece on the front and back, you can do that also. Okay, let's get started. All of the supplies you will need are listed below your YouTube screen in the description section. Now, as far as your pattern, I recommend using an old Christmas stocking that you already have. If you don't have one, you can go to discount stores like Dollar Tree or Walmart, anywhere where they sell Christmas items, and you can buy a stocking. And this is what I did. This one came from Walmart, and I'll show you how to create a pattern from a stocking that you already have or you purchased. I recommend you draw your pattern on either paper or cardstock. I like using cardstock because it's easier to use it over and over again to trace the pattern onto your fabric. Cardstock you can buy at discount stores. Dollar Tree has it, Walmart has it, many different places will carry cardstock. So what you want to do is lay your paper or cardstock down, put your stocking on top, then you're going to trace around it about 1/4 inch out from the edge of your stocking, because that will be used as seam allowance. So go out 1/4 inch and trace all the way around up to the top on each side. Up at the top edge, you'll also want to go out about 1/4 of an inch also. My stocking is approximately 11 inches by 20 inches long. I like to write information on my pattern. I'll put any type of information like how many squares I cut out, or if I'm doing one solid piece, I'll mention what the size is, which is about 1/3 of a yard of fabric. I also use cotton batting in mine, but you can also use fusible interfacing if you prefer, or even fusible fleece. After you cut out all of your squares, I used approximately 50 squares. You want to just lay them out, and you can shuffle around the colors in any order that you want. For my stocking, I needed 5 across in order for it to cover my pattern. So you want to measure how much it's going to be so you make sure. Remember, when you stitch these together, these squares will shrink by 1/2 inch. They'll wound up being 2 inches. So after you've laid them out, you're going to take your rows and you're going to bring pretty sides together and stitch 1/4 of an inch. Then take the next square, bring pretty side down against each other, stitch 1/4 of an inch, and keep doing that all the way across. Then you go to your next row and your next row until you've got all of your squares stitched. After you stitch them together, then you want to go to your ironing board and press all of the seams. And I'm going to turn these over to the back because I want to point out something that'll make it easier for you when you are stitching the rows together. So you want to make sure that the seams in each row are going in a different direction. For instance, in this row here, the seams are going towards my right. Then this row, they're going towards my left. And you keep pressing them in opposite directions. So it'll go right, left, or any way you want to do, left, right, left, right. Now I'm going to turn them back over. And you're going to take 2 rows and you're going to bring pretty sides together. And what you want to do is make sure that the seams on top are going in the opposite direction than the seam on the bottom. So this one's going towards my left, the one on the bottom is going towards my right. Then you're going to take a pin And you're going to make sure that they're centered with each other. Let me see here. I've got to move it over a little bit more. There I go. Okay. Now put a pin to hold each seam together. So pin all the way across. Then stitch a 1/4 inch wide seam. Then when you're done with this one, you want to go and take your next row, put it on top, match those seams, make sure they're going in opposite direction, and stitch all the way across. Here's how I recommend you layer and cut your fabrics. Now I use a rotary cutter so that I can cut through all my layers at one time. If you don't have a rotary cutter, then you're going to have to cut the layers separately. So here's how I do mine. Here is my cotton batting for one side of the stocking. Here is the fabric for the top or the front side where all the squares are. I'm putting the prettiest side facing up. This piece of fabric is for the back side of the stocking. I'm putting pretty side down and then place the cotton batting on top. Now put your pattern on top, and I would lay a few items on top to keep the pattern from slipping around, and then I'll just take my rotary cutter and trim around all 4 sides. Now either use straight pins or clips to hold all the fabric layers together. I like using clips on this particular project because it's so thick with all of those layers, but you can still use straight pins if you don't have clips. So you're going to place your clips all the way around 3 sides. Then stitch a 1/4 inch seam that's wide, 1/4 inch wide seam. Back stitch at the top, and now stitch around all of the edges and stop back up here at the top. On all of the sections of the stocking that are curved, you want to go in with either a pair of pretty sharp scissors and cut through little slits up to your stitch line, not through your stitch line. If it's really thick for you, then you want to take maybe 1 or 2 layers at a time and cut. So most of the areas I had to cut were almost around the whole area. There's just a few areas that are not curved. This is my lining fabric. You can use any fabric for your lining. I'm bringing pretty sides together, so you're going to need 2 layers of fabric. Lay them pretty sides together. Place your stocking on top. Place something heavy to hold the cardboard in place or paper, and cut all the way around it. After you've cut, go ahead and pin these edges. Stitch a 1/4 inch wide seam. Just before you stitch your 1/4 inch seam all the way around, on one side of the stocking, leave an opening. Here's my opening that I'm not going to stitch over so that I can turn it front side out. So make sure it's big enough for your hand to go through. Then do those little cuts, those little slits on all of your curved edges. Here's how you can make a hanging loop. So you want to put the 2 outer edges, fold them over about 1/4 inch and give it a good pressing all the way across. Then fold it in half one more time and press again. Then after you've pressed it, you want to stitch close to the edge all the way across. Now reach inside the lining and turn it front side out. Make sure you have the pretty side of the lining facing out. Now you're going to insert the lining inside of the stocking and take it all the way toe to toe. Make sure you match the 2 side seams on each side, the lining and the fabric for the outside. You have those together. Near one of your side seams, you're going to take your fabric for the loop and fold it in half, and take the folded edge and insert it down in between the lining and the fabric for the outside. And then pin or clip it near your side seam. Okay, let me use a clip. And then go ahead and stitch around the top a 1/4 inch wide seam. Reach inside your stocking and pull the lining out. Now go to the opening that's on your lining. Reach inside all the way down to the end of the stocking and begin pulling it out through this opening. To close the opening up, fold your edges in 1/4 inch and then place some pins to hold it together. Then stitch close to the edge right along here. Now push the lining back inside of the stocking. Now up at the top edge, you want to smooth out the seam area here and either use clips or pins and do that around your top edge. Then you're going to stitch close to this top edge, about 1/8 of an inch away from the top, and do that all the way around. And this one's all done now, so this is what it looks like on this particular one. I used just 2 different fabrics on here so you get an idea of what it looks like. And then here is the back side. Here is the one I showed you at the beginning, and this is the one that has many different fabrics on it. So you can see it has a different look depending on what fabrics you choose to use. If you're interested in other Christmas stocking styles that you can do and other Christmas projects, I will have links below your YouTube screen in the description section. So scroll down until you see the word more, click on that word, and it will expand open and you will see all of those project links appearing. Also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram and make sure you check out my Facebook page. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you next time, and happy sewing. If you like the Sewing Room channel, one of the best ways to show your support is to subscribe by clicking on that red subscribe button and give this video a thumbs up. And don't forget to click on share to share this video with your friends. And make sure you click on the bell so you receive notifications for all my new videos. I'm Cheryl, this is Manny, and this is Scotty. See you next time.